He's at a point in his career where he doesn't really care. He's been at the top of the game, he's good, but there's more to life. And I like to think this is this story as a love story, as opposed to a romantic comedy. There's too much onus put on you then, but I see this as a love story and played it as a love story. He's asleep and he opens one eye and there she is, the woman that he's been looking for. You know, being a divorce attorney, I think, has to be one of the most demoralizing jobs, because you just see humanity falling apart every day. You see these miserable lives kind of crumble before you, which started in love and friendship and beauty, and now they're at each other's throat. So you have to be a killer. And how long does that knife stay sharp? And how long can you keep doing that kind of stuff and still keep faith within yourself if you want to have a full life and have relationships? So that was one of the interesting aspects of this script. In doing like romantic comedy, there's nothing light about it because it just takes such work sometimes to make it effortless, and some days you come to work and you feel effortless and it's easy, and then some days, you know, your mind gets in the way and your own ego gets in the way or self-doubt gets in the way, and it's like trying to skirt your way through all of that. Whereas with drama you can kind of, it has a tension to it which you can use, but when you're playing light, then you know there has to be that kind of breeziness. And that's tough at times. People love to fall in love because people want to go to the movies on a Friday night after a kind of week and kind of lonely and kind of one thing or another and go, oh, God, yeah, well, he's lonely, she's lonely, and look what happens to them. They fall in love because we just need it as human beings, to be loved and to fall in love and to feel that anything is possible. Laws of Attraction is about fighting for love, and you have to fight for it, and sometimes it doesn't come easy, and you put barriers up, they put barriers up, but if you really love someone, if you really want to be with them, and you're going to have to sacrifice some things along the way. There was a wonderful alchemy created by going to Ireland for this film. I'm not quite sure what it was, but there was an intimacy within the landscape, an intimacy within the crew. Everybody enjoyed, they give so much of themselves, the crew over there, and they're all passionate for the piece. And you know, for me, it's like going home.
I play a character named Audrey Woods. She's a divorce attorney in New York City who's pretty much at the top of her field, who kind of, you know, lives for her work and doesn't have much of a social life. And at the beginning of the movie, you see her encounter this other divorce attorney who poses a real challenge to her, and then she begins to kind of get involved with him romantically. It's very old-fashioned, this movie. I mean, that's one of the reasons I was kind of drawn to it. It's very character-driven, and it feels like an old movie, I think. It's always the script, you know. I mean, that's, you know, no matter what the genre is, and I've kind of worked in lots of different ones, you know, whether it's like a tragedy or thriller or suspense or whatever, you know. It's not the genre as so much as it is the material, the actual script. And this one I thought was really, really sweet, you know, really, really compelling and funny and humane and interesting, you know. I thought it would be a lot of fun to do. It's character humor, you know, absolutely. I mean, it's the kind of thing that we find funny as people and as audiences. It's the kind of stuff where you hope the audience would laugh, but probably the person with you in the room would laugh too. So it isn't just a set up joke. It really is somebody's funny because maybe they just say something a funny way or they do something that's kind of humorous. It's all very much character humor. It sort of recalls an old-fashioned romantic comedy where you have these two people who seem very equally matched, but quite opposite, and they kind of seem to not be able to be in a room without being somewhat contentious or be, you know, very interested in one another. So for whatever the reason, they interest and excite each other and push each other's buttons, which is really what happens in most successful relationships. You have kind of there's a sort of a thing that people create together, and so that's what you're operating with in this kind of a genre. The characters all kind of depart the place where they live, and once they do, they have a completely different experience because they are, you know, out of their home, and I you know, Ireland in particular has a reputation, and for a reason, of being a really kind of wonderful, very beautiful, very romantic place. I think the people are incredible and wonderfully friendly, and it's beautiful. It's very green. There are all these, you know, we're in this wonderful castle. So I think there's an element of romanticism that the place brings to the movie. It's been great working with Pierce. I mean, he's such a lovely man. I mean, I think he's very, very unusual in terms of actors and big movie stars and stuff. I mean, he kind of notices everything that goes on, and he's very concerned about others, and he's very relaxed and funny and kind. We all pursue relationships and are married or unmarried or whatever, or, you know, we have people in our lives, and so these are the things that kind of interest us and thrill us and are fun to watch. And so the fact that you have a story that's about people who fall in love with each other that just happens to be funny, well, that's kind of everybody's story, you know, so it's a lot of fun to watch.
Pierce is about to go into a really fruitful passage of his career. It's a gut feeling, but I believe it's right, is that Pierce is full of so much more than he's been asked to deliver up until now. You know, you've got Remington Steele, and then you've got James Bond, and every now and again he gets the chance to do the Thomas Crown Affair, which is still a kind of smooth, slick kind of guy, but he's got so much more to him as an actor. And now he's being, with this film and other films I know he's going to do after this, he's being given the opportunity to show that he's a really good, versatile, smart, intelligent, funny, characterful actor, and not just a good-looking guy, which he also happens to be. What's great about both of them is they just jump straight in with both feet. They are fearless. They're the best type of actors you can wish for. They require very little direction. Their instincts are perfect. Their timing is really good. And they are keen to rise to the challenge because they're highly professional at what they do, and they love the idea of doing a film. Well, otherwise they wouldn't do it, I suppose. I mean, they're in a position in their careers where they only choose the stuff they really want to do. And if they've chosen this film, chances are it's because they really want to do it, and that's abundant in their attitude when they're on the set. They're both very, very top-level, successful divorce attorneys. They come from different schools of thought. They have different kind of aesthetic approaches to their work. Julianne's character is very kind of anal, strict, correct, you know, blinkered, tunnel-visioned, and does everything correct by the book. Her research is impeccable, and she doesn't lose a case because she's so good. Pierce gives off and Julianne's character likes to give off the essence of I am the real deal. Pierce comes along and he's this kind of slack, what's going on, I've lost my paperwork, it's here somewhere, I don't know what's going on, slightly Columbo-y kind of scatological thing. But what you realise with him is it's not what you see isn't what you get. What you get is a guy who's very, very smart, very, very quick, but doesn't feel the need to play the slick lawyer, which so many lawyers do. I need to look the part, I need to act the part. Pierce trusts his kind of bohemian spirit instinct and wins his case by being quick on his feet and thinking on his feet. So they're very different in their approach. So when they come together, there's a clash, or a sort of, you know, opposites attracting. Julianne's character, we get the feeling, doesn't date very much, doesn't go out very much, is very much career-minded. Pierce's character, Daniel, is quite clear, has had a string of girlfriends, isn't a womanizer. Although he comes across as someone who could be, we discover that that's not his ethic at all. He's someone who has had girlfriends, but they haven't worked out. And now he finds Julianne and sees something in her that he's never seen before, and tries to let her know that he's attracted to her. And because of her way anyway, and because of the way he presents himself, she is resistant to that, because she's not naturally given to want to take her eye off the ball while she takes care of her own emotional life. She's hiding away from that. What you get with both Pierce and Julianne is whatever roles they choose, whether they're funny, serious, tragic, action-packed or whatever, you get good acting. You get proper acting. You don't get someone saying, I just want to go and be funny now because I've been too serious and I want to fall off a thing because I just want to be funny. They still bring their craft with them, and it's the craft that actors have or don't have that is the difference between whether they can adapt to any role or not. And both of them have enough of a craft to be able to switch from any genre to any type of storytelling.